Welcome back to Ageless. So, my next person that we're going to talk to today about fitness is fitness expert Kayla Johnson. Now, Kayla has been in the industry for 3 decades. She's a health and wellness professional, an entrepreneur. She's a coach committed to empowering people, especially women, to achieve their fitness goals and embrace a balanced and sustainable lifestyle. Isn't that what we all want? She's passionate about helping clients develop consistency and discipline in their fitness journeys. And one of her core missions, and I love this, is to guide women through the unique challenges of midlife, helping them embrace their changing bodies. We've all been there, with confidence and strength. And she's the co-owner of Star Cycle in Santa Barbara, which is an award-winning franchise. Kayla, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. Why
Uh,
does 3 decades sound so much longer than 32 years?
yeah, I know. I know. When you start putting all that together, it definitely does. So I've
Right?
got so much to ask you, and
Okay.
because you have expertise in a lot of different areas, but I
hmm
am really interested always in people's journey, how they got to where they are right now. So
hmm
talk to me a little bit about your journey as a fitness professional and an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I love that. I've been in the industry for 32 years, so I've seen a bit, right? I've seen a bit of coming and goings of all the things. And I was a dancer my whole life. And honestly, I fell into fitness. I mean, it's been my life's work, but I fell into fitness as an 18-year-old teaching step aerobics back in the day at Gold's Gym because I could not
Love
afford
it.
a membership. Did
Love
you
it. Love it.
were you
Oh
a step
God, did
aerobics
I
girl?
do
You
it?
strike
Oh
me
yeah.
as a step aerobics
And
girl.
a
Okay,
little bit
good.
of jazzercise, a little bit
Oh
of
yeah.
jazzercise, but a
I
lot of step
definitely
aerobics. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely did that with my mom. We went to the YMCA and did a lot of jazzercise. So yeah, so that my fitness journey in this industry started with group exercise, and honestly, it's always been my first love. I love the community that gets built around fitness. There's just nothing negative comes from fitness, right? It's such a happy place. And so I've kind of been a serial entrepreneur, if you will, in the industry for a very long time. I relocated to where I live now in Santa Barbara, California, about 18 years ago. Found myself here as a single mom with a 4, 7, and 9 year old,
Mm.
and just said, okay, here we go. It's time to reinvent once again.
Yeah,
So Kayla
absolutely.
Johnson Fitness was born. I had a few businesses. I actually just sold that spin studio to my little avatar, my little 30-year-old avatar, which we're going to get to in a second because that's where I am in my journey. I'm 49 years old, and popping on a spin bike 9, 10, 11 times a week is not where I am in my life anymore.
Not
I'm definitely
ideal.
yeah, I'm definitely a recovering cardio bunny. You might be able to relate to that one,
Oh,
right?
100%. I'm right there with you. Yeah.
So that's where it started. And then this little thing called COVID happened where everybody's lives came to about a screeching halt. And at the same time, I was going through perimenopause and just really had no clue. I was just upside down, as most of us were. And I was dragging spin bikes in and out of my studio
Mm.
multiple times a day. I was fighting with the district attorney. I was just doing everything I could to keep our business afloat and just to keep people moving. It's so unfortunate because when I look back at that time, we were saving people's lives. And I was so mad that,
So
like, I
you
couldn't.
like you were giving them a purpose. You were
Oh,
giving
we are
them,
giving them a place to
yeah,
be. Like, we were for it
sure.
being in California during COVID, we were everyone's coffee date, lunch date, dinner date, happy hour. I mean, you name it.
Their
There was
connection. It was their
nothing. Yeah,
connection.
there was their
Yeah.
connection. And so luckily we live in a really great climate, and we're in an outdoor mall. So we literally just pulled the bikes to the courtyard. I mean, for a horrible situation, I've actually heard people say, like, "I kinda miss riding outside." I'm like, "Okay, I can't hear that."
Yeah,
But, like,
it's
I
too much.
understand, like, we lived somewhere that was really lovely. So
Sure.
it was easy to pull those bikes out, but it was awful. It just the process of going through that and fighting with everybody, with neighbors because the music was too loud, and with the city because the bikes weren't spaced far enough apart. It was just, we've all been through it. This is like a worldwide phenomenon that everybody went through. There's so much relatability with that time. It was just not great.
Sure.
And I was in perimenopause, so I was wanting to scratch everybody's eyes out. But I, but I thought I was just mad, right? I just thought I was mad at the world. So it was really hard to figure out what was actually going on with me. I couldn't get quiet enough with myself to figure out what was going on. And I have always been addicted to cardio. That's just, I think that if you are somebody of the 80s and 90s in your upbringing, that culture is just there. We think that we have to do all of this cardio to burn the calories. And so I spent many an hour on those little stair steppers and teaching step aerobics and teaching cardio kickboxing. And I've taught spin for 25 years. I still teach spin, to be clear, but I do it because I love it. So there's a lot of time doing a lot of cardio. And I honestly got so lucky because I had a boyfriend that was a weightlifter. So at 19 years old, I found myself in the weight room because he was there, not for any other reason, but I got kind of addicted to what it felt like to feel strong. I had no idea back in 1993 that I
That
was
that
doing it
was going to
to
be so
protect,
important.
yeah,
Yeah.
to protect 80-year-old Kayla, but gosh, I got so lucky, right? And I talk about weight training all the time, and anybody
So
who's
important.
older,
Yeah.
a woman who's older knows that we're, like, singing it from the rooftops, right? That we gotta get the weight training in.
Yeah.
So, I was lost in perimenopause, and my body was not responding. All the things that I was used to doing in my 20s and 30s,
Didn't
and even
work.
really no, it just, like, isn't it crazy how it just quite legitimately stops working? And that was a really dark time because I consider myself an expert. I consider myself a leader in the industry, and definitely in my local market, I'm somebody that people turn to for advice. And I just felt so stuck. I felt so stuck in this space. And, all the things. I wasn't sleeping. I was having anxiety. My hair was falling out. I was gaining so much weight. And the worst part about the weight gain, because you know how that is. We were just talking about
Absolutely.
that, right? Like you look back at a picture and you're like, what in the hell happened? The worst part about that journey for me is that at our spin studio, it's all documented. So if somebody has a birthday or a milestone ride, I mean, I'm on a stage. There was literally a whole history book full of, I called myself Mickey Mouse, especially when I owned it, of what I looked like and the evolution. This was not in my head. I mean, I was
So you
watching
were
myself.
able to look back and see the change. Yeah. The
I can still see
differences.
it. I could see it real time. I wasn't fooling anybody. I could see it real time. But I was in such a unique situation because I was so visible and all I wanted to do was hide. It was a really awful time, and I wasn't talking to anybody because I said I considered myself the expert, like, people came to me for advice all day long, and I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, no one talked to me about perimenopause.
Mm-mm. Nope.
I mean, no one was even telling me about talking to me about sex, let alone what happens after we have babies. My mom
Sure.
had a hysterectomy in her mid-20s after she had me, and there's just I didn't up until COVID, I could this is embarrassing, but up until COVID, I could not define perimenopause.
Mm-mm.
And I was of the and I don't even know where this is what's so crazy. I don't even know where this seeped in, but I was kind of part of that I'm sorry, the Women's Health Initiative study that was completely debunked, that told us all we were gonna get breast cancer if we went on hormones. And
Right.
so I didn't even think I didn't
To
it didn't
do
even
that.
occur to me. It didn't even occur to me to have a conversation with an OBGYN or an internal medicine doctor to even talk about the fact that I wasn't sleeping and that my hair was falling out and I was gaining weight. I just thought I was having too much wine and eating the wrong foods. That was happening between you
Yeah. Just to
just
be
to
clear,
be
there might have been a little bit of that.
there might have been a little bit. My husband and I have 6 children between the 2 of us, and so during COVID, like we all did, you circle the wagons, you bring everybody home.
You're
It was a
eating
complete
meals
frat
together.
house.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like at 1 PM, it was like, who's bartending? It was
Exactly.
so bad. It was so bad. And then 2 weeks of that, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is so fun." And then I'm like, "I can't make another TikTok. Like,
Yeah.
when is
I'm
this gonna
done.
be over? I cannot do this anymore." And then it just went on and on and on. So I digress. But like, I'm a girl who does all the things. I definitely fell down for a tiny bit during COVID, but I'm definitely a girl who does all the things. In fact, coming out of COVID, I was like, all right, no more alcohol. We got to get this thing back on track, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so even during all of that time, 2, 3 years probably of like just getting everything back on track, I lead my life by example. I still was so stuck. I was still so stuck. I was still almost 20 pounds overweight. and there was no stone unturned. So, like, I'm the girl who has the infrared sauna in the backyard and a cold plunge, and I weight train 5 days a week. And I've gone from teaching 9 spin classes a week to 3 or 4. And I'm the girl now with the weighted vest on the walk, on the hot girl walk. All right. Like I
Me too.
literally, yeah.
Right there with you.
Did you ever feel like that's what old people did?
Oh,
And
yeah.
now here we are
Yeah.
strapped up, right?
Yep. Yep.
Strapped up and hitting the road. I never did I ever. It's just getting older is so funny. It's a privilege, but just it is just so funny to reflect back on
It
what you think
is.
is
Yep.
old. I'll
Yep.
never forget. This is such a silly story. My mom got remarried when I was 17 and 16. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She was 38. And you wanna know what I said to her? "Why are you getting remarried? You're practically dead."
Oh, because you had no idea. Yeah. You had no idea. I know my dad got
I
remarried when he was in his early 40s. And I think, wow, you were ancient. Yeah. At that time.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't, of course, that was snarky and so rude, but she was so close to 40 that I thought in my brain that was so close to
That was
retirement.
old.
I
Right.
was like,
And
"It's so
now,
like, why
yeah.
are you bothering?" She was married to my dad for almost 20 years. I'm like, "Why are you even bothering?" You're
So really,
so
we have a
terrible.
different perspective, right? On
We have
age
a
now.
different we have a
And
different perspective with age. So yeah, we're
yeah,
hot for walking. So I was doing all the things, and I'm a really transparent person. What you see is what you get. I'm just gonna share with you my journey because this might be interesting to somebody who's listening. I hope that it
absolutely.
is.
Yeah.
But it was about 2 years ago, and I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I was actually so desperate, and I didn't know what to do. I honestly didn't know where to turn, and again, I was helping everybody else, but I couldn't help myself, and that
Sure.
feels awful, okay, when you lead from the
Absolutely.
front.
Yeah.
And a client of mine sent me a podcast about, well, side note, I'm a tiny bit obsessed with brain health. I'm really afraid of dementia, so I very researched in brain health, and she'd sent me a podcast about GLP-1 peptides.
Hmm.
Now, for those listening who don't know what I'm talking about, you can just take out GLP-1 peptide and put in the word Ozempic. I think unless
Exactly.
you've been living under a rock, I think we've all heard the name Ozempic, which is a name brand semaglutide for a GLP-1 peptide. Just for clarity's sake,
Right.
so
And for
people are
my
tracking it.
regular listeners, my
Yes.
first show
Ex
this season was about GLP-1s. So we
Oh,
talked
good,
a
I
lot
love it.
about it. Yeah.
Okay, great. So for those who don't know, just a quick little definition.
Right.
She sends me this podcast, GLP-1 peptides in connection to dementia, which now makes sense because GLP-1s act like an anti-inflammatory in the body when dosed correctly. And I was riveted by the subject matter. First and foremost is what grabbed my attention, but I was listening to the doctor who was the guest on this podcast, and she was telling my story. Has that ever happened to you before? You're
Oh,
listening to somebody and you're like,
absolutely. I
"Oh my
interview
gosh, she's right."
guests who are telling my story. So
It's so
yeah.
wild. I don't know that I've
Yeah.
ever had that experience before, and she's talking about, like, wearing a perimenopause sweater and just feeling, like, foreign in her body, but somebody who's always been in fitness her whole life. She's a
Right.
naturopath, in fitness her whole life. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she is literally talking to me." And she's talking about 10 or 12 pounds of just weight that is just like I had cellulite on my knees. Okay, I still have cellulite, to be clear, but, like, visible cellulite on my knees. Like, I can physically see how different my body was.
Yeah.
No, nothing was fitting me. It was awful. So I listened. In fact, I'll never forget, I was in Mexico with my family, we were working out, and I just stopped working out. I just sat on the bench. They all left me. For 45 minutes, I was like I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was the first time I had ever heard anything like this. So, then I just went down a rabbit hole like I do. Just wanted to understand, and I wanted to learn, and I wanted to
To
research, and then I
research.
started feeling hopeful because I was like,
Yeah.
I don't even see I was smart enough to get through the bad press. People love headlines, especially
Yeah.
negative ones. So I
Sure.
got through the bad press of Ozempic really fast because that's what education does. But I had this stigma for me. And to be clear, I was a very big fan. My sister lost 80 pounds. I had 2 clients that had lost over 80 pounds. I'm a big fan of, like, let someone win the race and teach them how to run. They're gonna die of comorbidities. Obesity is an epidemic. We have got to get weight off of people. Love that all day long. But for me to lose 15 or 20 pounds, I was embarrassed,
And
if
you've
I'm being
always
honest.
done it on your own. You've always
Always.
managed your own
Like, duh.
fitness level and
Yes,
health.
like, duh. And At the end of the day, because I was really wrestling with this, and at the end of the day, there was no stone unturned. It wasn't like I could say like, "Well, if I gave up that glass of wine twice a week, or if I wasn't wearing an Oura ring, tracking my sleep like a crazy person and paying attention to my circadian rhythm," like, I'm a walking billboard of perimenopause and, like, all
You
the
did
things
it
you're supposed
all.
to be doing. I did it all. So I had to rectify that, right? I had to really rectify that. But now fast forward, and this is such an interesting time that we're talking because in April, my husband's company is in sales and they do their reward trip in April. And last April, I had to buy new bathing suits. Like nothing fit me. I was so embarrassed. These are people that you see every single year. And I did not recognize myself. I mean, I can't even pull up a picture from that trip to even compare because I didn't take any. And then we just got home from Mexico a week and a half ago for the same trip. And I'm back. I'm back. So I lost almost 20 pounds utilizing a peptide. I've now gone off of them. But like, what's so awesome about what that did for me is not only do I feel back in my body, but the rigidity is gone. I mean, I'd gotten myself to a place that I tell my clients never to go to. You got to let go of the diet culture. You have to stop thinking that doing more and eating less is going to get you where you want to go. And I was doing it because I was so desperate. And so
You
it
were
like,
at that breaking point. Yeah.
oh my gosh. I mean, I had nachos every day in Mexico. Like, I mean, we don't drink a lot because I, for other health reasons, because I'm terrified of dementia. Did I mention that?
Yeah.
But like, but like we have pizza, we have ice cream. Like I got my life back. So anyway, I just like to tell that part of the story because when people see me on Instagram, right, that's just a real snapshot of what is happening in someone's life. And I am
It's
49
not
years
all the
old.
details. Yeah.
And like it's important to me that people understand. And listen, I'm not shy about it. That was the other thing when I was grappling with, oh my gosh, am I going to do this? Oh my gosh, am I going to do this? Am I really going to do this? Because I'm transparent. So I wasn't going to be the girl on social media saying like, "Oh, just eat more protein and watch your fiber and look like
Right.
me." I was going to say, "No,
This
team,
is what I
I'm
did.
utilizing I'm microdosing a GLP-1 peptide and this is why I look different and this is why I am smiling again and this is why I feel like I have my life back." So
And
I
you
just like
did
to
it
tell that
with your
story.
doctor. I mean, you did it with your
Oh, it's
doctor, right?
prescribed. Oh, it's
Right.
prescribed. And I could, if we have another hour and a half, I'll go into that story, but we don't. So yeah, it is prescribed. And that was a whole nother shit show, pardon the language. That was a whole nother thing
To
that
get
like
that
was
to get through
oh my
those
gosh.
hoops.
I had one doctor try to prescribe me an antidepressant and told me I had body dysmorphia. It was not a pleasant experience.
Right. Well,
It was not a pleasant
unfortunately, and we've talked about this a bunch on this podcast, a lot of doctors have no clue about women's health, have no clue about
experience.
perimenopause, about menopause, and there's the old, pat you on the back and tell you to take 2 Advil and a hot bath, and it's like, no, there's a lot more than that going on. I
No,
mean, I think your
absolutely.
story is really important though because you're talking about something like you said that there's a stigma with,
Mhm.
but you're also saying it's all things. It's not just fitness. It's not just eating. It's not alcohol alone. It's a whole combination that you have to figure out what that combination is, and who
Yes.
better to do that with than your doctor or your medical
Yeah,
provider,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely, and they are part of the equation. Unfortunately, they don't always have the latest information. As I'm sure you know, they weren't educated in school to
Sure.
help us with menopause, so there's a big gap there in education, and that's why there's a massive gap in support, and you're 100% right to echo what you just said. I tell my clients all the time, there is an orchestra of things happening. There's a lot of instruments in that orchestra, and a lot of things that have to be working together in order to create
To
that
be
music.
aligned. Yeah.
And in order to really take advantage of all the things that you want to take advantage of, especially a GLP-1 peptide, without question, it has to be prescribed by a physician who has your entire health history. And it really should be utilized with somebody like me. If you're not doing the lifestyle piece, it's not good.
It's not going to last either.
It's
It's
not
not
going to
going to
last.
last.
And you're going
Yeah.
to be in a worse situation potentially that you were in before you started if you're not compliant.
Yeah.
That's my feeling about it. I'm not a doctor. I play one on TV. I'm kidding. But like
I hear, but you have a personal experience, and I think that's
yeah,
really important. And I share
yeah.
mine a lot too.
Yeah.
My experience involved menopause, but I went through menopause pretty early. So it more involved stress. So more involved cortisol.
Oh,
So
mhm.
cortisol, I was under a lot of stress in my job, and as you know, cortisol goes right to your stomach. And that's where I gained the weight. And I
Yeah,
literally, even my trainer was like, this is so bizarre. Like, you're thin, but you have this
yeah.
stomach. And it was very frustrating. I like one of the things that you said. You were talking about the cardio, and I do want to get into Star Cycle, but I'm interested in figuring out what women should be doing at this point in our lives, because
Mhm.
I was a cardio junkie, runner, boot camp, cycling,
Yeah.
everything. And I've really dialed that back and gone, full force into yoga and also weightlifting. So really
Mhm.
changing it up. And how important do you think that is as a fitness person?
Oh my gosh, it's critically important, and I feel like I need to start a recovery group. I really do. Like, I always joke about it, but it's for those of us who are so addicted to that bone beating cardio, it's just like it's not doing us any favors, and scaling that back and doing the walking, which again, you have this stigma attached, like, that's what old women do. Like, oh my gosh, I'm like walking the neighborhood. I feel like my husband and I are now like those people. Oh,
Oh,
there they are
we
again.
we
There's
are
that
too.
couple.
We're
There's
always
that
walking.
couple. Yeah, always walking, but, like, that being able to be speaking of cortisol, right? Being able to be kind to our bodies and not increasing
Hmm.
that stress load, you really have to relearn. It sometimes I laugh and say it might almost be easier in midlife if you've never exercised and learn how to do it now, because you have to unlearn.
Right. You have to change your patterns
You have to
for
change
different
so
seasons.
many so you have to change so many bad patterns, but what's ironic about it is you get so much time back. I mean, I have so much more time
Right.
back. I was killing myself in the cardio room. And I will say this though, speaking of spin for just a moment, like the best prescription for those of us in midlife, if someone's like, just coach, just tell me what to do. I'm like, you got to walk. Okay. So first thing you have to monitor how many steps you're doing. And then we make adjustments for there. We're not cookie cutters. This is a one-to-one approach,
Everybody's
right?
different. Yeah.
Everyone's different. So it's not a one size fits all. We got to get moving. We have got to weight train. Yoga and Pilates are a great add in, but they're not going to take the place of lifting heavy stuff, right? So we
Mm-mm.
have to do the weight training. And we also have to consider what brings us joy. And I have to say that 45 minutes in a packed out, sweaty, candlelit spin room is about the most joyful place I've ever lived. And I think that joy matters.
Oh, I
So,
would agree with you.
yeah. So I'm not willing to be perfect, even though I know that I'm not and I will never get there. That's unattainable. To give up something that I love so much. But when I'm
Yeah.
talking with clients, I'm like, you just have to manage your expectations. If you want to do if you want to run 5, 6 miles, 6, 7 days a week, and we're trying to alleviate belly fat and body aches and plantar fasciitis, we may have to just take a step back
Dial that
and
back.
take this.
Yeah. I mean, what I do, so all of my running is social. So I'm in
Yeah,
running groups. And
yeah,
so it's all social and I love
yeah,
it. And it's interesting that you mentioned joy. So my daughter is a dancer. She's in
mhm,
college and she's a hip hop dancer, been dancing since she was 3. And so I said recently, I just want to have a little bit more fun in my exercise. I mean, yoga is great because it's grounding and it's
yeah,
meditative, but I want to have
mhm.
a little bit more joy. And I started going to a dance class, saying,
Good for
at the
you.
Y, because, and it's so fun. There's like 70 people in it. The guy that
Oh, that's
teaches
so
it
fun.
is a musical theater guy. So he's, all in and
Is it like
everybody's
Zumba?
laughing.
Is it like Zumba or what are you
No, it's
doing?
just
No?
dancing. I mean, it does kind of remind me a little bit of step aerobics and jazzercise
Oh my
mixed in,
gosh, and so
but
you're
pop
just like having a
music,
flashback. Yeah,
all different ages. It's in the gym, so the indoor track goes around the top, and everybody can look down and see how much fun we're having, and we're clapping and we're laughing, and it's just joy. So I
love.
agree with you that joy is
Yeah,
important, so important
mhm.
in any
Yeah,
kind of
totally.
exercise. What about
Yeah.
diet? I know you mentioned we have to get away from the diet culture mindset. So how
Mhm.
do we? And I believe that that has created a whole generation of women who have body dysmorphia have eating
Absolutely.
disorders because they're seeing
Mhm.
these pictures on Instagram. So many of them that are faked, that are
Oh,
fixed.
for sure.
What do you suggest with your clients when you're talking about healthy habits and dieting?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great question, and it's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? Because it's not a one size fits all approach. I really meet people where they're at, and I don't make big drastic changes with nutrition ever. It's a real slow, methodical process because my goal is to give my clients results with sustainability. And listen, I'm not ever going to sit here and say that diets don't work. They do work in the short term, but there's no shelf life, and it's definitely
If
not
you
a way
don't,
to live our
you
life.
can't. If you can't maintain it, it's not going to
No, you
work.
can't maintain it. It's not worth anything. And what comes on the other side of restriction is binging. So it's like restrict, 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 and then fall off the deep end. And then the cycle just goes on and on and on. It's to look
Y-
for foods with single ingredients, to get out of packages, to get out of restaurants. And I understand that restaurants are always going to be with us. And I understand that for convenience sake, and you're starving and you have to have a beef stick. Okay, I get it. Like, okay, I get it. We're all busy. But like you need to figure out how to have a plan and how to get organized and how to bring it back to whole foods. I mean, what I do is so simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. It's just whole foods. And we, like, for example, we're empty nesters now, but we smoke two huge tri tips. Okay, we don't need two tri tips, but it'll feed us for 4 or 5 days, or we can freeze part of it. Instead of making one serving of chicken thighs, I'll do 12. So I'm always thinking ahead and batch cooking some things, if you will. But I stop at the farmers, it's like a farmer's market type stand here in town. It's always open, thank goodness, as I can never make it to a farmer's market. But like that's where I get my berries and my sweet potatoes and my vegetables. We just keep it really simple. And I just want my clients eating whole foods. I do not let them count calories. That is not a thing with me. That's a whole nother conversation. We could talk for 5 hours, just by the way. That's a whole
yeah.
nother conversation, right? And we really focus on protein and fiber and good carbohydrates and fats. Our macros are our fats and our proteins and our carbohydrates, right? Like that's the macro pie chart, if you will. I talk a lot in pie charts as we do food journaling. I wish there was another little category for processed foods because everybody wants to throw processed foods into carbohydrates, which is fair, but not really because carbohydrates are not the enemy,
It's the
right? Like
processing.
somebody just sent me a meme that said we shouldn't be avoiding carbohydrates, we should be avoiding dickheads or something like that. I'm like,
Yeah,
yes, that's
that's a good
exactly right.
idea. That's a
Yeah,
great idea.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like carbohydrates are not the enemy, but we have to figure out how to eat the right ones. A lot of it's just education. When you're
Yeah.
so used to having, I mean, look at keto. Okay, so keto is just a repackaged Atkins. Remember Atkins?
Oh, I sure do. Yep.
Oh yeah, I've done all of it. Okay, and so Atkins is keto is just Atkins repackaged, but you're at these fancier grocery stores, if you will, Whole Foods, Erewhon, whatever, and they've packaged keto to look healthy
Right. It's on the
or
label.
gluten free. Yeah,
Sure.
or gluten
Sure.
free, right? So it's like that's the same crap as the sugar free and the fat free diets that we went on.
And the right, the low fat and the
Yeah,
skim and the
yeah,
everything. Right.
exactly. So I'm like, yeah, use whole organic dairy. If you can get your hands on raw milk, drink it. And it's
Yeah.
just blows people's minds when they start losing weight, eating whole foods. And they're like,
Well, I
what?
think if you travel, for example, if you go to Europe, for example, and you
Yes.
eat pasta and
Yes.
pizza and all this stuff, and then you're like, wait a minute, I didn't gain any weight. It's
Nope.
because it wasn't processed. And I
Exactly.
really love what you said a while ago when you were talking about going on vacation. And you said, you know what? I had ice cream, I had nachos, I had pizza. So I think that goes back to this constant restriction. A
Mhm.
new ice cream place opened in our neighborhood, and we are fans. We're big
I
fans.
love
My
it.
husband and I, also empty nesters. They have a $4 kid cone. So that's our go to, but we do get
Amazing.
toppings. We do get
Yeah.
toppings. But we've kind of said, like, okay, you know what? Once a week, we're just going to go there because we like it and it's close. And, that's okay.
Mhm.
That's okay. And honestly, I probably haven't eaten ice cream in years, like here and
Yeah.
there, but very
Yeah.
rarely. But now I'm like, why not? I mean,
Why
I
not?
don't have ice cream in my house. I don't have cookies. I don't have, whatever you would call junk food. So
Mhm.
I'm going to have a little ice cream cone once a week, and I'm going to feel fine
Absolutely.
with that. So I do agree with you. I think the restriction is something that's really just messed a lot of people up and doesn't work.
I agree.
I don't want to go without talking about star cycle. So I don't want to date this because it's going to be in a little while from now, but
Mhm.
basically you're moving out of that space. You're still teaching, but you're not
Still
running the
teaching,
show.
but I was able so just real quick story because I think it's was 6 years ago, 90 pounds overweight, rode with us, fell off her bike. Like, you cannot make this stuff up. Fell off her bike, bless her heart. I started working with her. She started uh, working out at Star Cycle kind of religiously, lost, oh gosh, over 80 pounds, became an instructor, and she just bought it.
Wow. So that's
So,
a
yeah,
great
so it
full
feels so, yeah,
circle
she's,
mentor
yeah,
story.
30 years old. It's like we just got to pass it on to the next generation. It feels so good. And it just wasn't in alignment with where I am in my life anymore. And it was just time to, I feel so grateful that I was able to pass it on. It's just, yeah, it's just doing, I was, the year we opened, which was the year before COVID, I was teaching 13 spin classes a week.
Oh my gosh, I can't even
Happily,
imagine.
happily. And that
And
was only what, 6
this
years
is
ago.
California spin. Like I go to spin at the Y. And
Yeah.
by the
Oh no.
way, we do have great weather and we do move our bikes to the outdoor patio
That's
because everybody
you.
loves it. Everybody
Yeah.
loves it.
It's a
But this
thing.
but this is like intense. I'm sure like what you
It's
do there.
45 minutes of like, I just feel like someone just beat me up. It is
Yeah.
45 minutes and I'm intense. So
Yeah.
it's so fun. It is, and they are
Sure.
yelling and screaming the entire time. And somehow along the way, I've come up with all of these things that I say. Like anybody new who comes into my class, it's hard to get into my classes, but anybody new who comes in is probably wondering what the heck is going on because I yell all these things and they yell back at me. It,
Right.
it, it
Because you
is
have a
like,
following. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
it's a
great
cult,
though. That's
right? It
fun.
is so fun, but I'm not gonna ever suggest that somebody in the throes of perimenopause when things are just feeling upside down to go jump into a 5 spin classes a week.
No, no.
It's
And
the wrong it is the wrong
but I
idea.
think it kind of goes back to, what I was talking about with the running and everything.
Mhm.
I think that we long for human connection. And so I
Yes.
think fitness, whether you go for a walk with a friend, a run with a friend, a bike ride, a hike,
Yes.
fitness or go to a class is
Mhm.
part of that human connection. And so, for me, that's how fitness has evolved in my life. It's
Me
become part
too.
of my community. And I think that's where you are too. So,
Oh, me too.
I
Yeah,
think you just have to figure out, like you said, what works for you. Now,
find
before
your
you go,
tribe.
I'm going to ask you
Mhm.
this question. I asked my last guest this. So, if I didn't know anything about you and I just
Uh-huh.
Googled you and I saw your picture, I'd be like, what is this woman going to be able to tell me? I'm a regular person. Like, I'm not that. I mean, you're lovely, you're beautiful, you're in great shape. How do you have people that you train that are like, I can't be like you. I'm not going to be like you. You kind of addressed it a little bit when you were saying you're really honest about your journey.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
sometimes I go into a class and I look at a teacher, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be that. Like that's not happening,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
sometimes I go, okay, maybe, with a
Mhm.
little work, it's attainable. So, I mean, do you feel like sometimes your clients or people that want to be your clients look at you and go, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about because you've never been where I am. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
You know?
and I yes, and that's such a great question, and I up until perimenopause, that might have stumped me a little bit. It might have stumped me a little bit because that was a fair statement. And nothing levels the playing field and humbles one like midlife. And the real silver lining, I don't want to learn that lesson again, but the one silver lining that came out of it was empathy. That real feeling of like sheer desperation, knowing that you're doing all the things and nothing is working and your clothes aren't fitting and all you want to do is hide in your house. Like, I see you. I see you. I've been there.
Yeah, that's great. I think that probably makes you 1,000 times better at what you do.
Relatable. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're able to see that
And it is,
and
yeah, and it's all relative. Like, whether you wanna lose 70 or 80 pounds or whether you wanna lose 10 or 15 pounds, it's yours.
sure.
And I get women, I talk to so many women every week. I mean, I don't know, I talk to 50, 60 women every week. And I mean, it's the same conversation over and over and over again. And we're all apologizing for wanting to lose 15 pounds. And I'm like, stop. That's where society has brought us. You deserve to feel the best you want to feel. I don't care about a bathroom scale
Yeah,
number. I
yeah,
could care less
whatever that
about that.
means, right?
Whatever that means to you, stop apologizing for it.
Yeah,
It's almost like they don't
exactly.
deserve to want to feel good in their bodies because the person next to them has it worse.
Yeah.
I mean, this comparison game is crazy, but I'm just telling you that because of the amount of conversations that I have, and that's the theme
That
of
makes
the
a lot of
conversation
sense.
is
That
that
makes a lot of
they're
sense.
apologetic, like, well, it's only. I'm like, no, it's yours, and your wellness journey is so personal, and you get one body and you get one shot,
And that's how
and
you
you
feel.
deserve to
Yeah,
feel you deserve to feel the best you want to feel.
absolutely.
Yeah.
How can people follow what you're doing, Kayla?
Instagram is probably the easiest way, Kayla Johnson Fitness or KaylaJohnsonFitness.com.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for sharing
Yeah.
with us
Thanks for
today.
having me.
Yeah, it was so enlightening. And I think what you have to say is something that will resonate with a
Great.
lot of women.
I'm so
And
happy.
just hang out for a few minutes after the interview. But
Okay.
it's just been great talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.